Hello everyone. Welcome back to another tutorial in this COVID-19 pandemic season. Students, your teachers can't wait for you to get back to school. We're missing you just like how we know that you are missing us. Parents, I know we have been asking you to do a lot of work at home. You have been doing an awesome job. We are so proud of you. You are making our life much easier when the students return to school. We are very, very grateful. We will be able to continue the teaching and the students continuing to learn because of what you have done at home. Thank you very much. Today, I'm going to be looking at test of divisibility. So we're going to be looking at how we can identify if a number can be divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 10. When is this skill useful? This skill is useful when you're asked to find factors of numbers or when you're asked to cancel and you're trying to find out what number can go into another number without leaving a remainder. So we're going to look at how we could identify if these numbers can go into another number without leaving a remainder. Well, let's go as usual from what we know. We know 2, 5, and 10. A number can be divided by 2, just to remind you, if it ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. So any number that ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, 2 can go into it without leaving a remainder. For 5, any number that ends with 5 or 0, 5 can go into it without leaving a remainder. Any number that ends with 0, 10 can go into it without leaving a remainder. So any number that ends with 0, 10 can go into it without leaving a remainder. So all the numbers that 10 can go into without leaving a remainder, 5 can also be able to go into that because it ends with 0. So 2 ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, or ends with an even number. 5 ends with 0 or 5, and 10 ends with 0. We know that. Now let's see if we remember about 3. We're going to be doing 3 and 9 together. To find out if a number can be divided by 3, we add the digits together. If when we add it, we get a number in the 3 times table, then that can be divided by 3. So for example, let's look at 12. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 is in the 3 times table, so 12 can be divided by 3. Let's look at 54. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 is in the 3 times table, so 54 will be able to divide by 3. Let's look at 126. 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 is in the 3 times table, so 126 will be able to divide by 3 without leaving a remainder. And if we do a test, 1, 2, 6, 3. 3 into 1, I can't put a 0, so I put my 1 there. 3 into 12 is 4, nothing is left over. 3 into 6 is 2, so I get 42. If I should look at 124, 4, 5, 6, 7, that will not be able to divide without leaving a, 3 cannot go into this without leaving a remainder, because when I add the digits together, I did not get a number that is in the 3 times table. And we can do a test. 3 into 1, I can't, so I put a 0. I put my 1 there. 3 into 12 is 4, nothing is left over. 3 into 4 is 1, but I'm going to have 1 left over. So it did not go in without leaving a remainder. So 124, 3 cannot go into 124 without leaving a remainder. So 3 is not a factor of 124. Okay, so that is for the 3. Fortunately, the same rule that applies to the 3 applies to the 9. We know that a number can be divided by 9 if when we add the digits together, we get a number that is in the 9 times table. So let's look at that. 4 and 1 is 5, 5 and 4 is 9. 9 is in the 9 times table, so we could look at that. 144 divided by 9. 9 into 14 is going to give me 1 time remainder 5. 9 into 54 is 6. Nothing is left over. So 9 can go into 144 without leaving a remainder. Let's put 144 and then let's put 9 at the end. If I add that, 9 and 1, 10, and 8 is 18. Numbers in that add up to 18. 18 is in the 9 times table, so that will be able to divide by 9. So a number can be divided by 9 or by 3 if when we add the digits together, we get a number that is in the 3 times table or the 9 times table. Now, they will not always work together. For example, if I have a number 22, 1, and 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If I've got that number, 8, 9, 10, 11, let's change this to 12. If I have that number 3, 1, 8, 8 and 1, 9, and 3, 12, 12 is in the 3 times table, but 12 is not in the 9 times table. So it's not always going to work for both of them. So in this case, that can go into 3, or 3 is a factor of this number, but 9 is not a factor of this number. So we looked at 2, we looked at 5, we looked at 10, we looked at 3, and we looked at 9. Now the next one we're going to be looking at is 6. And the reason we're looking at 6 next is because we already know 2 and 3. So we're going from what we know. To be able to find out if a number can be divided by 6 without leaving a remainder, the number must be able to divide by 2 and by 3. So let's look at, for example, 12. 12 can be divided by 2 because it ends with 2. 12 can be divided by 3 because when I add the numbers together, 2 and 1 is 3, and 3 is in the 3 times table. So because of that, it will be able to divide by 6. Let's look at 54. 54 is in the 2 times table because it ends with an even number. It ends with 4, and 5 and 4 is 9. 9 is in the 3 times table, so 54 can be divided by 3. Because it can be divided by 2 and it can be divided by 3, it will be able to divide by 6. So I have 513. Let's make that 516. 516. 5 and 1 is 6. 6 and 6 is 12. 12 is in the 3 times table, so it can be divided by 3. And it ends with 6, which is an even number, so it can be divided by 2. If it can be divided by 2 and it can be divided by 3, then it can be divided by 6. So let's do a test. 6 into 5 I can't, so I put a 0. Put my 5 here. 6 into 51, 6, 8, 48, 49, 50, 51. So I have 3 left over. So 6, 8, 48, and 3 is left over. 6 into 36 is 6. So I get my answer to be 86 and nothing is left over. So to find out if a number can be divided by 6, we look, can it be divided by 2? Does it end with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8? Can it be divided by 3? Does the digits add together give a number that is in the 3 times table? If those two things, your answer to those two is yes, then it can be divided by 6. So we looked at 2, we looked at 5, we looked at 10. Those are the ones we knew before. Then we looked at 3 and 9. And because we already know 3 and 9, we then look at 6. Because to find 6, we need to know to identify if it can be divided by 2 and it can be divided by 3. If it can be divided by 2 and 3, then it can be divided by 6. Now let's look at 4. A number can be divided by 4 if when we half it and half it again, we get a whole number. So let's say it's a small number of 48. 48 divided by 2 is 24. 24 divided by 2 is 12. Because I get a whole number there, I know that it can be divided by 4. Because if I half it and half it again, and I get a whole number, it can be divided by 4. Now let's look at 46. At 46, if I divide that by 2, I'm going to be getting 23. But if I do 23 divided by 2, I'm going to get 11.5. I did not get a whole number, so I know that it cannot be divided by 4. Now, what if the number was bigger and I know my times tables? Another rule for 4, because 4 you can do 2 ways, is to look at the last 2 digits, if you know your times table. So 121. Look at the last 2 digits. If the last 2 digits is in the 4 times table, then the entire number is in the 4 times table. So 21 is not in the 4 times table, so that cannot be divided by 4 without leaving a remainder. 68 is, let's see, 68 divided by 4. 4 into 6 goes 1 time, remainder 2. 4 into 28 is 4 7 28. So yes, 68 can be divided by 4 without leaving a remainder. So the whole thing can be divided by 4 without leaving a remainder. Well, let's say it's a big number like this. And we're trying to find out, can that be divided by 4? If the last 2 digits can be divided by 4, then the whole thing can be divided by 4. Now, 32 is in the 4 times table, so the whole thing will be divided by 4. Now, how is this going to help you? This skill can help you. For example, if I have the number 126 divided by 84. Okay, let's say we are going to divide that by 85. Now, let's say we're going to divide that by 85. I'm like, oh, what's going to be working? Let's say 86. If we add that together, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 9. That digit add together gives 9. We know it's an even number. It can be divided by 2. But we also know it can be divided by 3. And we also know it can be divided by 9. Because when I add the digits together, I get a number that is in 3 times table and also the 9 times table. Right. Let's make that 7. Right, now let's look at that. We're looking, what can we do? If we know that cannot be divided by 2, we know that cannot be divided by 10, we know it cannot be divided by 5. So we know it cannot be divided by 6 because it does not end with an even number. So let's see then if our number can be divided by 9. 8 and 7 is going to give you 15. Now 15 can be divided by 3. 15 is in the 3 times table. So because 15 is in the 3 times table, and that number is also in the 3 times table, because when I add the digits, I get a number that is in the 3 times table. Straight away, I know I could use 3 to divide both of them, or 3 to cancel both of them. 3 into 12 goes 4 times. 3 into 6 goes 2. 3 into 8 goes 2 times, remainder 2. 3 into 27 goes 9. Now I have 42 over 29. Now that could not go any further, so I could be asked to leave that as it is, or I could be asked to leave it as a mixed number. So we could go from there, leaving that as a mixed number, or we could go from there, leaving it as it is. So any one of those. So we looked at how to find out if a number can be divided by 2, must end with an even number, 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. By 5, 5 or 0, ends with 5 or 0. By 10, ends with 0. We knew that. We looked at 3 and 9 because the same rule that applies to 3 applies to 9. We know that a number can be divided by 3 if when we add the digits together, we get a number that is in the 3 times table. The same thing applies for 9. We know that a number can be divided by 6 if it can be divided by 2 and it can be divided by 3. And we also know that a number can be divided by 4 if the last 2 digits in the number is in the 4 times table, or if we half and half the number again, and we get a number and we get a whole number. So this skill is very, very helpful in helping you to cancel down in finding factors of numbers or finding multiples of numbers. So therefore, knowing this can be very helpful. Hope it's helpful to you.